hydrating properly.
Yeah.
I just started putting like minerals, like mineral salt, like a specific type of mineral salt into my water.
I saw like an ad about that today, and
Yeah.
they were like, "Oh, if you know, you know." And I was like, I gotta get into this maybe.
It is really good for you. I didn't find out through an ad. I found out through a trainer that I used to work out with.
Okay.
Because he was just like, you're not hydrating your body properly. And when it makes sense, like we need minerals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that. We need vitamins. We need everything.
Yeah. Welcome back to Get Cozy with Josie. I'm your host, Josie Lentner, and I'm here with a esthetician girly, Bree. Please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Bree, and I'm a licensed esthetician here in Miami.
Your story is pretty interesting because I remember when I met you, you were telling me that you essentially just like made the decision you want to move to Miami from New York and you just picked up and you moved. How has that been? Like, what made you want to make that decision? That's a really bold move.
It was a bold move. I didn't see it at the time. A lot of people told me that I had this crazy amount of strength and courage and balls, and I couldn't understand what they were saying or why they were saying it. But after living here almost 2 years, like when I reflect on life now, I'm like, whoa, you didn't think this all the way through. And at the time, I thought I had a solid plan and that I had this crazy tunnel vision that everything was aligned and gonna work out exactly how I visioned it. You were actually one of my very first clients here. And I was like thinking about that earlier. I was like, wow, Josie was one of my first clients ever here. And it was at a time where I really didn't know, like, I didn't know what the future was gonna hold for me, but I was very confident that I was making the best decision for myself. And even throughout this entire journey, I still feel that way. So no matter like what I've gone through challenge wise, and in my personal life, I do feel that moving here was the best decision. And I had studied, my industry, and I knew that I was going to be able to be successful here. And it was just a matter of like placement and positioning myself in order to do that.
And for the people who don't know, what type of esthetician are you?
Well, I specialize in facials, full body waxing, chemical peels, microneedling services. So more of an advanced specialist, and I like to cater to acne skin. So my goal is to be a corrective skincare, specialist and help people transform their skin because I suffered with acne, and that's one of the reasons I'm passionate about what I do, just helping people build their confidence with their skin and learning how to maintain healthy skin.
No, that's super important. Me personally, I've struggled with acne. I struggled with hormonal in high school. I think like last year, I went through a really bad spell of I caught fungal acne. I think I got it from like the gym.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it was fungal acne. And I was treating it as if it was like cystic acne.
Yes.
And then it wasn't until like this esthetician that I was going to since high school. I just went in for a facial because I was like, you know what, maybe I just need to see her. And she was like, this is fungal acne. Like, we need to do something completely different.
Yeah.
So I love that. Honestly, I think that estheticians can be like the biggest lifesavers. So I love that you are in this field and you have a purpose and you have a real reason why you want to be in it. Because as someone who struggled with acne, it's not fun.
It's not fun. It can be very tiresome and you can get discouraged,
Definitely
along the
get
journey
discouraged.
because I suffered with it from 12 years old
Yeah.
up until my adult life. And I first went to dermatologists who tried everything, like every brand of medication there is out there. I've done it all, and none of them gave me the results that I was looking for. None of them gave me the confidence that I was looking for. And I've even had dermatologists tell me, well, an esthetician's not going to help you.
Yeah,
An
they do believe
esthetician
that.
is not going to work for you. A chemical peel is not for your color. So that was the last time, that I saw that particular dermatologist, and I just felt, really discouraged. And it wasn't until I started working closely with estheticians and put myself through esthetician school that I really understood what was happening, what was affecting my body, and what was essentially affecting my skin and how I could, heal it. So I believe that an esthetician is like the key to, healthy skin, because not only are we going to educate you on your skincare and, ingredients and why you need to be doing these things, it's not a band-aid solution when you come to work with us. We want people that are committed to healing their skin and seeing a difference. So totally different, solution than going to the dermatologist that just prescribes medication.
There are so many different things that like I didn't even realize would affect my skin, such as like food intolerances, right? Like one esthetician told me, and this is what made me realize like I had to cut back on the Chick-fil-A. Not because it's fried. Literally not because it's fried, but because they use peanut oil. Because an esthetician told me that she had a client that would notice every time she went to Chick-fil-A, she would get horrible acne after. And she figured out that she had an intolerance to peanut oil. And I started to realize I'm like the same thing because I can eat like Shake Shack, McDonald's, like,
Right.
but when I go to Chick-fil-A, and I love Chick-fil-A, my skin does not agree with me, like at all.
It's so funny you say that. I have a client that came to me for the first time a few weeks ago, and her skin was severely congested. And I'm like, girl, what are you eating? I go down a whole list of
Yeah.
things just to kind of help, decipher what's really the cause of the acne. And she's having Chick-fil-A milkshakes every day.
Oh, the
And
dairy.
I said, girl, that is what is killing your skin right
Yeah.
now, So we have to cut that out. So I told her, let's cut Chick-fil-A milkshakes for the next 4 weeks. You're going to come back to see me and let's see what your skin looks like.
Yeah. Or at least like moderation.
Exactly.
Like having free will and being an adult is like, it's crazy because then you start to realize like, oh, I'm treating my skin and my body like trash because I have free will and I choose to eat Chick-fil-A every day. Like I was hooked on the nuggets. For me, it was the
Oh,
nuggets.
the nuggets are so good.
Yeah.
I always said, I could do vegan, pescatarian, but I can't really give up Chick-fil-A. I just don't understand
Yeah, like
what it is.
I'm not too big on chicken, but I love Chick-fil-A. That's what keeps me like, eh.
That's how I
But
feel.
I don't want to get too derailed because you brought up how you like go through a whole list. Like what exactly do you go through when you're talking to clients? Because I feel like a lot of people don't realize how important your diet or even like environmental factors can play.
Exactly. So when I do my initial consultation with my client, my first thing that I ask, any medications that they're currently on, do they have any birth controls, because that is going to control, hormone production. And then what is your diet and how active you are, because a girl who's in the gym, 5 days a week, you're sweating more, you're around more bacteria, your hands are touching your face constantly, your body. So you're more prone to breakouts.
That's how I got fungal acne.
What side do you sleep on?
What?
Something as simple as that. A person will have a more congested, left or right side of their face if they are a pillow sleeper. And I'm able to tell that in the room. And 99% of the time, I get it right. If I take a guess and I ask my client, do you sleep on the right side? And they're like, yeah, how'd you know? Like, your skin is telling me that. I'm
I
not
have
just
makeup
like,
on, but like what side do you think I sleep on?
well, I have to get up close and personal to do my skin analysis, but it's that simple. Your skin can literally tell a story of what's going on, which is why going to an esthetician once again is like the best thing to do, because we went to school to study skin in a different way. I think from a dermatologist, and yeah, so.
Is it true? Because I've seen on like the internet and social media that like different areas of your skin can, where you're getting acne on, depending on where it is on your face, can determine like what organ is having like just a little congested or like what part of the body that's really affecting. Is that, because I see a
It's
lot of things on the internet and I'm like, what's true?
No, it's definitely true. I went to a doctor one time, and I don't even remember what kind of doctor she was, but I wanted to like see if there was a root cause to my acne.
Yeah,
She's not an esthetician, she's not a dermatologist. It was more like a holistic type of
I
thing.
love a holistic doctor. I
And
swear by holistic
she was
doctors.
able to like tell me so many different things that I was just like, wow, okay, maybe this is, the root cause of this. But it is true that, our skin is the largest organ on our body. What we put in, what comes out. Which I always try to, explain and make sure my clients fully understand that. It's very easy to tell if someone's a smoker. Aging, when it comes to aging skin, one of the fastest ways to do that is to be a smoker or constantly in the sun and not wearing SPF. So your skin tells it all, literally.
Okay, now since you're here and this is I love SPF. I'm not the best with every day because with modeling and makeup.
Yeah.
But I think the people need to know. Black people need to wear sunscreen. Because I think so, yes. But some people are like, no, I don't need to wear sunscreen.
Absolutely. Black people, melanated skin, anyone needs to have on sunscreen. It really doesn't matter what shade or tone you are because our body needs to be protected from the sun. So it doesn't even matter, what kind of sunscreen. Everybody's skin tolerates a different type of sunscreen, but it's one of the things that are going to give you the biggest protection, and they literally drill it in our head in esthetician school with purpose. We watch studies, we look at before and after photos. There's even a machine that you can put your face in and it does a skin analysis and it will
Really?
show you where your skin is dehydrated, how much the UV rays have affected you, what part of your skin is sun damaged. So
I have had that, not a machine, but essentially like an esthetician I used to go to put up almost like a UV filter on me and like
yeah.
a black light.
And it'll show like where your skin is
Yeah.
like sun damaged and aged. Yes. So I have a lot of friends that, they don't believe in the sunscreen either. However, if they're here in Miami and we're at a pool day, yacht day, I'm like, where's your sunscreen? I don't care what you're saying,
Yeah.
you need to have it on. And there's no excuse if you are wearing makeup because they do have brands, specifically Skin Better, that has a compact sunscreen. It doubles as a makeup primer. And they even have a Tone Smart that literally matches to your complexion. So that's my go-to when I'm wearing makeup. There's another brand that also offers the setting spray with SPF in it. So it makes me feel much safer, because a lot of times if I am going to the pool or on a yacht, I do wear a full face of makeup.
Yeah.
And I don't want to feel like that's my protection because before becoming an esthetician, that's what I used to think. Like, oh, my skin's covered. It has foundation, concealer, all these
Oh, I've
different
never thought
things.
that. I'm not gonna lie.
I did, but I don't know why.
I mean, in concept, like, yeah, because you have like a layer, but like, that's interesting. I wonder how many people like.
I don't know. Maybe it's just, I think of the craziest things, but I used to feel like that was my,
Yeah.
sense of protection, and it really isn't. So now I'm glad I discovered the compact sunscreen that I use as my primer, and then I also feel like throughout the day, if your face gets a little bit oily, you can use that to touch up your face without it really affecting your makeup because it does have like that tone smart to it. So that's always my recommendation for clients.
I saw a video today on TikTok because, TikTok is my news source. But I saw a video and it was a girl, she was talking about sunscreen. And she was talking about how a lot of times we're not actually using the correct sunscreen and that sunscreen, you're not supposed to tan when you wear sunscreen. And when you look at sunscreens that are developed in like Korea or even like in France, they have a much better range of sunscreens that are more developed because sunscreens in the rest of the world are seen as cosmetics versus sunscreen in the US is seen as more of like medication in a sense.
Okay.
So she was essentially saying that when you're looking for sunscreen, you need to look for sunscreens that have the PA+++, because that helps protect against UVB, if I'm being correct.
Yeah.
Versus like the sunscreen that we normally just buy that just says SPF 50, it only protects against like UVA rays.
Right. I think, again, if you didn't go to esthetician school where they actually do teach you about
Yeah.
UVA, UVB, and stuff like that, you're not going to walk into your local CVS and think about that. You're going to pick up whatever brand you're comfortable with, whatever brand has the prettiest packaging.
Yeah.
And, that's it. Like me, a few months ago, I picked up Sunbum and I didn't really do my research on it because I was just pressed for time. And I was like, oh, this brand looks cute. I like the price point. So I took it, sprayed it all over my body, and I broke out.
Really?
So I had to then sit down and look through the ingredients, which I should have done in the first place. That's just me being negligent, I guess.
But you also like walk into things thinking like, okay, this is sold at like a major store, like I should be okay.
Exactly. Same thing with, unfortunately, the Black Girl sunscreen. I I was excited to purchase it. And that was a moment that I took to read through the ingredients. And I was like, wait a second, something's in here that is going to clog the pores, going to cause a breakout. So I wasn't able to make the purchase. And with the sunburn, it broke me out all over my body. And I was like, oh, heck no. Like, I was just so pissed off that I didn't take the time to read the ingredients. So I think, us estheticians out there have the duty to, inform people, educate everyone on whatever platforms we use so that people can make better decisions, because I am getting a lot of clients coming in and they are using TikTok as their go-to, their Google. So many people are on skincare regimens that they got from their favorite influencer on TikTok.
Well, that's where you got to be a little like,
Yeah. I just made a video the other day, referring to, creating these skincare regimens because your favorite TikTok influencer, convinced you to buy a product that they only use one time. They haven't even used it for the minimum of 4 to 6 weeks to actually see a difference. And, the realistic matter is that we all have a different skin. Skincare is not a one size fit all, and you cannot treat each client as one. You don't just have one protocol and do the same thing for everybody, because all of our skin is unique and we have different things to cater to.
that's a really big thing. I'm glad that you brought that up, because even me as a content creator, like, I will get like, I have a surplus of skincare that just sits in boxes, because realistically, and I'm grateful to receive it, I use some of it, I gift it to friends, I gift it to family, but realistically, like, when am I gonna use like these 5 different retinols from 4 different brands?
Exactly.
And I used to be super into skincare. I used to have a 7-step routine that I built myself. I never followed like an influencer. I have a decent understanding of how to use skincare products and like when I should use them. But then after I got fungal acne, I cleared everything out, because I was just like, I'm gonna make it as simple as possible. And now that I feel like I'm in a good place, I'm about to start like skin cycling, which is like, for people who don't know, that's when you like use a retinol, then you exfoliate, and then you like moisturize for 2 other days in a 4-day cycle. But don't do that, please. Like, I'm into skincare. Like, don't start putting retinol on your face if you don't, if you have not consulted with one of our like beautiful estheticians. Don't just put retinol on your face. But I say all that to say that I noticed that there is a big trend where people are just like putting anything on their face, and they don't realize like how hazardous it can be. I remember even seeing like a video of a girl who completely like ruined her moisture barrier because she was just putting random things on her face.
Yeah. I think one of the, biggest things with influencers, I love the content, but you get way too many products. And there's no way to know what really works if you have to have this demand of creating a new video every 3 days. And you're never, you're not able to really review the products in real time, because you have these deliverables that you have to meet. And then the other, thing that I realized, even with estheticians, I had a client tell me that she preferred someone who's had experience with acne themselves and, had a journey, because you go to an esthetician who maybe never had a pimple a day in her life and sits there and tries to be relatable to you. And I think that's one of the things that makes me successful in my business, is that I'm very relatable to my clients when they come in the door and they tell me a medication that a dermatologist put them on, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember using that, X amount of years ago. I remember how it affected my skin, and I remember it not working, basically. But I think, I definitely recommend everyone to consult with an esthetician about any skincare regimen or starting any new products. Another thing is skin purging that people don't expect. And I try my best to educate each client that I service on skin purging, because there's a difference between having an allergic reaction, a purge, and just overall like skin irritation, to certain ingredients. So I try my best to make sure everyone's aware of those things.
But I think that's where like full like comprehensive health comes into play, because when I started taking my health more seriously and like detoxing regularly and just being very conscious about what I put into my body, I don't experience as much like skin purging.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I know that when I was the most active, like in the gym 5 days a week, eating super healthy whole foods, my skin was the best that it's ever been.
Yeah, I feel like that's like first and foremost. Like you have to have a good diet.
Yes, and also when you're healthy and active, I think it's literally the cure to anything you're going through. You know, it can reverse a lot of healthcare problems, and I don't think that medication always has to be the first, you know, thing, the first remedy that people run to. It's the most convenient, and I think people love convenience.
But a lot of people don't realize like how much like, and I'm use medication for what you have to use. I'm not anti-medication, but like a lot of people don't realize how much medications are only like treating the symptoms, not the root cause. And
Exactly.
I've even through TikTok, you see people's stories. So I remember I was following this one influencer, and she was using steroids, topical steroids on her face for acne for years, and then she went through a really bad skin condition and almost considered like a skin disease that was a side effect of not using steroids anymore.
Wow.
And it was like, I don't want to go too much into detail because obviously I'm not going to like plug the ad right now.
Yeah.
But she essentially, like, her entire skin became so red and dry and irritated, and the entire skin on her entire body, it affected her entire body. And she basically had to like leave the country, do saltwater therapy
Wow.
to replenish the minerals, I believe, in her skin. And now she's okay. And she talks about her journey.
Yeah.
But that's just like an example of how, like, a lot of people don't realize, like, okay, like, I'll just take this steroid, or like, I'll just get on birth control, or like, I'll just get on like Accutane. And they don't think about, like,
The long-term effects. That's why Accutane is the main reason that I ran away from the dermatologist. Because, like I mentioned previously, I tried every topical oral medication that they are able to prescribe. And at this point, you know, I would go to the dermatologist every single week because I had two really good health insurances. I wasn't paying for
yeah.
anything. I was there every week. For one pimple, I went and I got an injection in my face so that it could go down. And every time I went there, the dermatologists, multiple, were just feeding me Accutane, Accutane, Accutane. And I'm just like, there's just too many risks, you know, associated with it that I'm not comfortable with. And there's too much that I don't know about it. And I'm too young to, you know, get on this medication. And I know for certain that it affects your potential of having kids later in life. And I just didn't want that to be the one reason that I may, you know, potentially suffer with having kids later in life. So I'm like, at this point, they're not even listening to me. They're not listening to me. They're not documenting the fact that I've already declined this multiple times. And at that point, I gave up. I really did. I honestly gave up until I started going to see an esthetician. And once I started working with an esthetician, that's when I saw the best like transformation in my skin. And at that point, it wasn't even about my diet. It wasn't, because my diet was not
Yeah.
perfect, but it was just a skincare regimen, me being committed to seeing that change. I tell my clients now, you know, some people have a hard time getting into a regimen or remembering, use this serum in the morning, use this serum at night, or, you know, do this in the morning, do this at night. Some people have a really hard time getting into regimens, but I tell them it becomes fun once you see that it's working.
Yeah.
When you see that something is working, you can't wait to get home and put that serum on your face. That's where I am now. I can't wait to, you know, wake up in the morning and put my hyaluronic acid on. I can't wait to get home at night and put my retinol on because I know that it works and I see the results of it. So it becomes fun after a while because you know that you're doing something. It's kind of like a self-care moment outside of just, you know, normally having to wash your face and do your nighttime routine. It's just loving yourself, loving your
Yeah.
skin. And that's how I look at it. And I try to get my clients to do the same thing. And I tell them, trust me, it's a process. It's not overnight. It's going to work. And you will get into it. You will get into the rhythm of this, you know, skincare regimen.
That's what made me really love, like, when I had like a 7-step routine, is to me it was like self-care.
Yeah.
Because I love, like, that's for me, self-care is you don't have to get massages or facials, but it's just like showing my body love and like
Exactly.
taking care of my body. And yeah, it's just for me right now, I'm trying to fix these like I have these like set in fine lines. They've gotten better.
Okay.
I got
I
them
don't see
really young.
them.
No, I got them really young because I would always be I'm a very expressive person, and I would always scrunch my forehead
Okay.
without realizing that that would cause me to have like fine lines in my forehead.
Right.
Like worry lines are what they're called. So I'm actually about to start skin cycling again
You know
to
what I
get.
love right now? That there's like the younger generation, because of TikTok, they're super into skincare.
Yeah,
For Christmas, they want like Sephora and Ulta, shopping sprees. And I'm like, this generation, they should have no fine lines, no wrinkles, no large pores.
because they're so preventative.
Yeah.
Because like I'm so convinced that I can like get rid of my fine lines, and because I refuse to. I have no problem with anyone who does any like corrective or cosmetic work, but
Right.
I don't. I want to stay away from Botox for as long as I can,
Right.
and I want to stay away from
Same
filler
here.
for as long as I can.
Yeah.
So,
I actually did filler this year. Well, last year. I
ooh,
didn't think that I would, but the reason I
yeah.
did it is because it was a biofiller and it came
Okay.
from my plasma.
Oh, what's
So
the
it was like
difference?
super natural, not synthetic, not out of a bottle or anything. It requires a little bit more maintenance, but I liked my results. I was
I've
very
never
happy with
heard
my
of that.
results. Yeah.
So it's a biofiller, so it's not a synthetic filler, which is what people normally get. Filler is usually like what, like Juvederm and like things like that.
Exactly. So this, the practitioner will extract your blood, put it into a machine that, extracts the plasma and turns it into like a jelly form texture, I guess.
Mm.
And that's what they use to inject into like, your smile lines, your under eye. For me, I was concerned about my under eye area because I'm constantly on the go. I was working overnight all the time and I'm like, I'm too young to look tired. I don't want to look tired. I'm in the industry of beauty. I cannot walk
Yeah,
around looking tired. And so I took that option. I did it. I couldn't believe I did it. I was scared as heck.
really?
Yeah.
I mean, so what's the maintenance on that?
It's so let's say you do Botox every like once a year or something. I don't really know because I never really got into
I've
that.
heard that it
But
is
I
once
think
a
it's like
year.
once a year that you do the maintenance. The biofiller you do like every 6 months.
Okay, that's not horrible.
Yeah. And it requires just a little bit more sessions to like see the desired results. For me, the one session I did was cool. However, I feel like it's wearing off now, so it would be time to like do it again, but I don't know if I'm gonna do it again.
I mean, you look great.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
you look amazing.
I'm focusing on products right now, using my skincare products. And I know that my health, how I eat, being active, all of those things plays a major part. Sleep, hydration. Hydration is a big one, you know.
Hydrating properly.
Yeah.
I just started putting like minerals, like mineral salt, like a specific type of mineral salt into my water.
I saw like an ad about that today and
Yeah.
they were like, oh, if you know, you know. And I was like, I gotta get into this maybe.
It is really good for you. I didn't find out through an ad. I found out through a trainer that I used to work out with.
Okay.
Because he was just like, you're not hydrating your body properly. And when it makes sense, like we need minerals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that. We need vitamins. We need everything.
Yeah. Do we need to? I mean, if you really think about it, just with like maybe like 200, 300, 400 years ago, it wasn't as easy to become so like nutrient deficient, but like we're running on like
Fumes.
fumes. We're running on fumes. There are so many environmental pollutants. There are so many pollutants in our food.
Yes.
We're not absorb because of this. It's causing our bodies to not be able to absorb nutrients properly, and then we don't detox. Like in other countries, like they detox regularly. That is not normalized in this country.
Yeah.
So we're
Not
not
only that,
doing.
the foods that we eat, whatever is injected into them, is like coming into our body. I don't want to get too deep into that, but it just freaks me out
Yeah, that's a whole nother
sometimes, and it's
conversation.
just like, this is what is going to affect our skin at the end of the day. So, diet is just one of those main factors. And I never believed that I had the willpower to cut certain things out. But if it matters enough to you,
You'll
you
do
will make
it.
that change. I don't drink sodas. I want to say I don't eat dairy. I love cheese. However,
Yeah.
I have cut it out of my life in a drastic way. I used to consume cheese like maybe every single day or every single week, whereas now it's literally like once, maybe every 4 months or something. Like it's in a very small portion that I will consume dairy because I know what it does to my skin.
Dairy is like horrible for your skin.
It's the worst.
I feel like there's a lot of really good alternatives because I went plant-based for like 6 months, and then it like slowly fed into like pescatarian, and now I eat meat again because I didn't do it to be anti-meat. I just really
Right.
want to like do it just to see how it affect my energy levels and my skin.
I think it's good for like lowering inflammation too.
Yeah, it's amazing for lowering inflammation. And now I eat more red meat than I eat chicken.
Okay.
And I eat a lot of like lamb. But I still have to say that like during that time I realized that there are so many alternatives to dairy and meat because like the vegan and the plant-based industry has blown up so much. And there's so many like I was eating like mushroom steaks. They're good.
They're good though.
Yeah, they're good.
They're definitely good.
They're good. And even like some of the plant-based like cheese is not bad when you go
I
specifically
love,
like
yeah. I love the brand, what is it, BioLife, I think. Have you had that
yeah.
one?
Yeah,
BioLife.
I've heard of that.
I like that brand.
BioLife is good. And then I've never been a milk person,
Okay.
but I started to like I mean obviously like social media doesn't help, but I started to like see different videos, right? And obviously everything has its like like pick what you want, but like I started to see that almond milk isn't that healthy for you because it's basically like starch water. Oat
Yeah.
milk is like one of the worst ones that you can drink because
And
you're
it's so
drinking
good.
starch. So I just started to opt for like coconut everything. I just do
And
coconut milk.
okay.
I do coconut milk in my matcha. I do coconut milk if I'm like, if there's an option for me to put milk in something and I can choose a plant-based milk, I'm doing coconut milk.
I gotta try that.
It's actually
I've
so
had
good.
coconut milk before, but I've never like gone outside and been like, hey,
It's
put
low-key
coconut milk in my
better.
matcha.
It's low-key better because it like, do you like coconut?
I do.
It's not very strong in that flavor, but it's sweet and it has that coconut like, and it has a
Okay.
nice texture.
Yeah, I have to look into that. At this point, I feel like nothing's healthy for us. So it's like,
No.
it can give you a headache trying to like run away from this and then you find it in that. And it's just like, okay, well, what do I eat? What do I drink? It's exhausting.
No, it gets super exhausting, but I love how passionate you are and you made it like a point to know so much about like what goes into maintaining healthy skin because it only betters your practice. And like I
Exactly.
saw that you recently just you were at a place, but now you're on your own. How is that?
It's the best thing ever.
Yeah, I love
I'm so
that.
happy because I feel like when I sat down and put Florida on my vision board, this right now today was the big picture 2 years ago. So now that I'm like here and I'm living in it, I'm like, wow, I know the next big picture that's coming and it's even better
Yeah.
than where I am right now. And it's just like you get excited about it, you get nervous because I didn't know. Like I'm very, in tune with God and praying every single day. And I just didn't know when is my time. But I wasn't asking like every day, obviously. I was just showing up. And I just
Yeah.
said, I'll do, whatever. I'll keep showing up. I'll, you know, take this job, that job, and work my way. I feel that I was forced into my own space just now. The things you saw me posting on Instagram. It wasn't necessarily a decision that I made. Yeah, I was like forced out of, the
Yeah.
place that I was working. It was just a partnership gone wrong, in my opinion.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And I'm not sad about it because I feel like it just positioned me exactly where I needed to be. And I remember earlier that week, I, started inquiring with different places because I had this feeling that something was coming. I didn't know what, I didn't know when. I just knew that eventually, you know, I wasn't going to grow much further there. But I wasn't ready to make that decision yet. However, God literally made that for me because when I went into work that day and I finished my clients at the end of the day, someone was able to come up to me and say, you got to get your stuff and go. And I just like paused and I wasn't like upset. I didn't say anything. I just packed all my stuff in garbage bags and I left. And I immediately got to work and I was just like, this is your time. Your time is here. This is what you worked hard for. This is what you moved to Florida for. Now it's your time to really like put everything into play. And I feel that I was ready for it, even though I thought I thought that I wasn't. I thought that I had to like drag my feet. And I feel like, you know, sometimes if you do believe in God, if you do pray, that, you know, we can take our time with things because it's never the perfect time. It's never like fully right. But in this situation, there was no more second guessing. God literally set things up to be that way that I had to get out that day and make that move because I had literally told, you know, the people that I signed a lease with currently, I told them, hey, I need more time. They were ready to have people move in that week. And I was like, I'm not ready. I need more time. I have to figure things out, you know? And then I was texting them literally less than 48 hours later saying, hey, can I come look at the space? And then that same day signed my lease. So I feel that, you know, my life experiences so far have taught me to quickly adapt. I've always been used to adapting my entire life, and this moment came and I just had to like get in position. So I'm really happy. My clients, they notice a change in my energy that I didn't even notice. So many people have said to me like, wow, you have color on, you're always in black, you know. People are telling me that my hair is colored. My hair has been colored for the past 3 years
Wow.
and no one has noticed it.
When I met you, your hair was colored.
Yeah. My hair has been colored for 3 years.
Yeah.
And people are literally telling me, oh my God, you got highlights? And it's just like, well, what is different today that you guys are noticing these highlights? Because you've seen me with my hair curly, my hair straight, my hair in a bun, you know, all these different styles, but people are noticing a different energy, you know, when I open the door to greet them. They love the space that I'm in, and it's not even, you know, complete yet. I haven't fully decorated anything. My goal was to just have it presentable to take my clients and, you know, be the best representation of my brand that I can be in this moment of like transitioning. I had a client today who told me, you know, it doesn't even look like you just got in here, basically. So that makes me proud.
Yeah, you should be proud.
I'm very proud of
Yeah.
myself right now because I went through a lot. I really did. Like moving to Florida was a lot that I couldn't foresee. I thought life was gonna be a breeze, and I just went through so many challenges that I literally couldn't foresee these things.
I mean, that's one thing I'm not gonna lie that I say this all the time. Miami, like for people who move here, Miami will make or break you.
Oh yeah.
And it's just crazy because you came from New York. So how would you say the energy or just the hustle is different in New York than here?
I actually don't think it's much different. What I will say, you know, I think Miami and New York are both hustle bustle cities. Miami, almost everyone you meet has like 5 different jobs.
Yeah.
And that I wasn't used to, you know, because in New York you have your one job, it's a high paying job, and then you just have New York mentality where you're just naturally, you know how to hustle if you need to. So you have like
Wow. I didn't think it was like that. I thought New York was kind of like 8 jobs.
I
Like here.
didn't know. I know more people here now with multiple jobs, with roommates and all these different things that I did not know back in New York. Like you could have one job in New York, not to say that you weren't living paycheck to paycheck, but your gross, income was like enough to get you by every single month. Whereas here, you have one job and that can't even cover you monthly. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I feel like I see people here with 3 and 4 jobs, and it's not even like, it doesn't make sense. Like everyone's working really hard and not like in a smart way because you're overexerting yourself. You're extremely tired. I've been in multiple Ubers where I feel like these people have not showered, and it's probably because they don't have time. It's honestly probably because they don't have enough time to do that because they're working from this job to that job and then doing a side hustle and stuff like that. So I don't feel as much different as far as the hustle culture. What I do feel is different is the networking opportunities. I feel that, yes, you can come to Miami and it can swallow you up. You can get lost in the partying, the lifestyle, if you don't have a strong enough mindset to survive. I've literally worked hard, played hard, worked hard again, played even harder, but I've never stopped like showing up, where you will have some people that will go out there, play hard, and then they can't clock into work the next day, and that's just being irresponsible. And after a while, you're gonna get sucked up into, you know, the life
Yeah.
here. But I think the networking, the eagerness for everyone, you know, they want to know, what do you do? This is what I do. How can we help each other? That's always how I approach, you know, situations. I talk to any and everybody, just wanting to know, what do you do? And here's what I do, and here's how I can help you. When I first moved here, my goal was to just build this large network of people, which I was successful at. And then my phone got stolen. So everyone's contact that I had,
Girl, you didn't back up on iCloud?
no,
Oh,
no,
dang.
everything was gone.
I'm
And I
so,
felt
wow.
so defeated. I actually was like depressed for a little while, like in a functional depression, because
Yeah.
I felt that I had worked so hard and someone literally came and just took all of my hard work, all the clientele that I built up. That same month, I was getting ready to put down a deposit on a studio. That was a year ago. I was ready to
Wow.
move into my own space a year ago, and I had the money to do it. I had the clients, and that weekend I went outside. Did I have to be outside? No. But I went outside and, you know, a bottle girl stole my phone.
A bottle girl?
A bottle
No.
girl stole my phone. And it forced me to have to reset. I had to take a step back and I had to figure it out again and start over, literally, again. So little things like that, you know, that I've had to like face. And it just, you can't let it get in your way. One of my favorite things about Florida is how it rains and the sun shines again. So I always tell people that, like, no storm lasts forever. And I feel like living here is a daily reminder of like the storm passing, the sun will shine again, life will get great again. So I don't ever like sit too much in anything that I go through.
That's beautiful. I think that I'm really happy that you shared that because I feel like a lot of people need to understand that like your situation isn't permanent.
No, I think not too many people look at life that way. It's like things are happening to me,
Things are
and
happening for you.
exactly. So that's how I've, you know, rewired my brain to think that in some way, somehow, if I don't see it now, I know that this is going to help me. I know that this is going to push me forward. So a situation, you know, like me being forced out of my workspace and having a month and a half booked out with clients and nowhere to take them, there was no
Wow.
time to cry over spilled milk. I literally had to sit down and just figure out, where am I taking these clients? Because I refuse to start over again. I refuse to, you know, miss any of those appointments or have people, you know, in limbo and not knowing what my next step was. And I told everyone, I will have a location for you by Monday. And I had a new address by Monday
Period.
because I was not, especially at the hands and power of someone else, I was not
Yeah.
going to allow that to take away from all the hard work that I did and all the showing up that I did with all the challenges that I had already faced. I could not let anything get in my way this time again. I was just like, because that first person stole my phone, and this person, I was like, yeah, it's not gonna happen again. I refused. I refused.
Props to you.
Yeah.
Because look at you now. Like you literally just moved into your new space
Yeah.
within like a week's notice. Like that's actually like
Girl, I was in the
insane.
new space within 48 hours. Pictures on the wall, bed set up, clients walking through that door.
I know that's right.
I was not playing any games because this, you know, I moved here with a purpose. And every day it's like, how do I get closer and closer to that, you know, fulfilling that mission that I came
Well,
here?
I truly believe that you're gonna get everything that you desire. Because I'm the biggest person, like if you look at my social media, I'm really big on like living in your purpose, living towards your highest self, living towards what you want. Like, if you would have stopped and you would have like sat there and just like crush you, that would prevent you from getting to where you want. Because you kept going and because you ignored the different obstacles that were coming in your path and you found the way around it, it only prepared you to receive what you wanted that much more. Because you
Yeah.
never lost sight
I
of what
fractured
you
my
wanted.
finger the next day.
How?
Slammed shut in a car door.
Dang.
And I'm sitting here like I didn't want to go to the ER because I really didn't want to hear what they had to say. So I literally did not go to the ER right away. But I was in excruciating pain and I continued to show up and work with my hand in so much pain because like I said, I was not letting
You didn't have time. You had
anything.
to go.
I had nothing. Yeah, I had no time, to have anybody tell me what I couldn't do. And when I went to the ER, I told them that as well. I said, I just want you to know that my hands are how I make money. And, don't say nothing too crazy to me because I need to
And
make
I didn't have
money.
any other choice at this.
There's no other options. There's
Listen,
no
you're
other
talking to the
options.
there's no other option queen right here.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of times people have been like, you need to sit down. I'm like, not now. I don't have time to do that right now. And it's like, like, I feel like outside looking in, people will look at you and they're just like, oh my God, I need you to like chill, chill, chill. But when you're going to have that time to chill and you know how far you can take yourself.
Exactly. And I feel like you're the only person that actually knows that.
Yeah.
There's no one that can figure that out for you, no one that can push you to that potential. So even like in certain friendships I've had, I'm like, I can see the vision of like where you're supposed to be. I can tell you what I see, but I know that you're not going to get there unless you literally wake up and decide to do that for yourself.
That's a really big thing. Waking up in this, a lot, like, I was at the Aspire tour and I heard Gary Vee talk.
I love him.
I love him.
I love him.
Oh my God, and I think I spoke about this on another podcast episode that I did, but he literally cussed out the audience for 30 minutes straight. And I was like
could see
eating it
that.
up. I was eating it up because I was just like, yes, this is what I think in my head. But he was essentially just like, when you're gonna wake up and understand that you are in control of your life, you have accountability for your life. Like, the second you sit there and you take yourself accountable, you make yourself accountable, life gets so much easier. Stop blaming people for things that you knew that you should have been doing and just do it. If you want to do this, then do that.
He's one of the biggest people that have like influenced my mindset. Him and I was listening to, I still do, but not every day. Like I was religiously listening to Sarah Jake's podcast, Woman Evolve. That between the two of them, that's what really helped me like sit down with myself and rewire my brain and think about what I wanted, for my future and how to navigate my current life to like get to where I want to be. Like you may have a certain circumstance right now and some people sit in that circumstance. They don't find ways to work around it and make it work for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even, this is a boring example, but me not having my car, right? I could easily say, hey, Josie, I can't do this right now because I have to take an Uber. And it's just like, okay, you have to take an Uber, but it's something you really want to do. Go out there and do it.
Yeah.
Like something really small like that, but apply it to something even bigger in your life. Like, don't let your current circumstance stop something that you want to do or accomplish. And I find that people make up so many excuses and it's all in their head. It's literally all in their head. And you will sit down with these people and you can ask them question after question and they have answer after answer for why they can't do it. And I'm like, I hear nothing but roadblocks that you're creating for yourself because I've already given solutions for every single thing that you just said.
But then they never have anything to say about why they can do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're in alignment with that because I'm so big on like reprogramming your mind. Like I did that. I went through a whole, let's say like 4 months of just like in-depth mind reprogramming.
Yeah.
I mean, like I promise you, people around me probably thought that was insane. I was listening to affirmations all day. I didn't even listen to music. Affirmations, meditation, breathing exercise, EFT tapping. My mom was like, what is wrong with you? Because I was just in my room like
You have to want it though.
like once I realized, I was like, I'm really big into manifestation. I have a really good relationship with God. I like to tie it all together in my own spiritual way of like making sense of things.
Yes.
But the second I realized that there are people creating their realities, consciously manifesting the most insane things, and the biggest difference between them and me was me having a negative self-concept. And I started to think back to when I would accidentally manifest things.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all I had to do is reprogram my mind and be intentional. And then I realized that, like, I didn't have to, like, my thoughts didn't control me. I control my thoughts. So I started to learn how to, like, observe my thoughts and not absorb them. A lot of people don't realize that, like, you do not have to respond to everything that comes into your head.
Exactly.
Control your thoughts. Get in control of yourself, and you will be in control of your reality.
That's a word. I'm holding on to the word intentional because that has carried me through. I want to say I started putting in the work to rewire my brain or mindset maybe 3 solid years ago. But you have to be intentional.
You do, with everything that you do.
Up until those 3 years or maybe 4 years ago, and I'm embarrassed to say this, I was still saying the prayer that I said when I was 5 years old.
Girl, me too.
I was not intentional in what I wanted and putting that into the universe and talking and relaying that to God. You know, it's just like I'm just waking up every day and living whatever life is out there.
Yeah.
But I'm not being intentional about my day. I'm not being intentional about my business, my money, anything. And I've noticed once I started being intentional, those things were delivered to me easily. The
Instantaneously.
other day, I literally woke up. I looked at my Instagram and I said, yeah, I want 700 followers. I want to hit 700 followers. And right now I have 759 or something. And that was in less than a week. And I was like, it's that easy.
It is
It's that easy to just talk good things, talk positive, and receive it, do the work. Because I didn't even have to do that much. And it came to me. And I was like, look at that. Like,
we are literally programmed to believe that things have to be hard for us. And it's not like that at all. At all. Like,
I
personally, my God does not make me suffer.
Yeah.
My God is not a wrathful, angry, instill fear in me God.
Exactly.
I live my life with intention, and my reality reflects the positive thoughts that I want it to. And that's at least been my experience. And I can assume that that's been your experience since you went through your whole mind reprogramming.
Yeah, I try to get other people to like understand it.
Me too.
But it's hard. It's
because
exhausting.
You have to, it's like a come to God moment. Like you have to like, when you're ready, that's when it's going to make sense for you.
I think for me, I had that mind shift when actually it was a solo trip that I took to Miami.
Really?
And I was like, I want to live here. I like this. What do I have to do to get here? And that's when I just really sat down and thought about it. And I was just like, I was already like maybe 3 or 4 months into reprogramming my mind. So now that I had that moment to sit with myself, and I think a lot of people need to learn how to do that. You can't be around friends and family all the time. Going on a solo trip or just being in a solo moment, you really get to understand, what do you want out of life? What do you see for yourself? And that's what I thought about, the vision that I had for my life, and the things that I like to do. So I was like, you need to tap into your skills. I've been in the beauty industry for over 10 years. I started off as a makeup artist. And I'm like, okay, you're a makeup artist, but what are you doing with it right now? It can take you places. You've always wanted to be an esthetician. What are you going to do with that? That can open up the door for you. And it did. It literally opened up it landed me here.
Yeah.
Like someplace I've never sat down growing up and said I wanted to move to Florida. Like there's nobody that heard me say that ever until I got into like esthetician school and just started thinking about all these things. It's just like finally you stepped into your purpose. Like when you feel like you discovered and understand what your purpose is, everything just starts aligning perfectly.
Yeah. And when you're acting with intention, everything aligns perfectly.
Yeah.
I am such a big believer that you have to be intentional with every single thing in your life, from relationship to friendship to career. If you want that quote unquote high value man, don't respond to the guy that treats you like trash. If you want to expand your mind and look into different cultures and look into different like just look into different things about life and you want to better yourself, then you need to be surrounding yourself. Be intentional with your friends.
Exactly.
Who are the 5 people around you? Who are the 10 people around you? Because you're literally a reflection of them. If you want to better your career, work on your career. If you want to start a brand, 2% consistency. I swear I live by that. I tell everyone, if you can't give 100% of yourself, give 2%. At least you're consistent and you're being intentional.
That's how I felt today. I told you I didn't feel like getting
Yeah.
out of bed, and I was like, you know what? You just got to show up.
You just got to show up.
I have programmed my mind to believe that there is success for me to achieve every single day. Success is literally not a one-stop destination for me. For some people it might be, but for me it's not. It's literally a goal that I have to get up and achieve every day. And that's just doing whatever puts me one step closer to like achieving a goal or something. And I get to say I was successful today. And that's how I like maneuver throughout my days. But I think intentions is going to be one of the key factors that like helps people, that helps us, you know, navigate life and avoid stupidity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
100%.
if you have no intention, you can end up in some really crazy
100%.
situations
No.
and places, things that are just could have been
Yeah.
avoided had you thought about it a little bit further. So I love showing up intentional in my life with people that I interact with, and not just having these like surface level connections, you know, to things or people, because it all matters and everything is connected. And then there's energy as well.
Yeah.
Energy that transfers from people, from things, from places that I'm just like, okay, now I'm scared to like go be around that person, because what if it affects something that I have going on, or what if it affects, you know, a certain level of success I've reached in this particular thing. Like that's where I'm operating from right now. And some people don't really understand that when you tell them like, hey, I can't go. I don't want to be there, or I don't really want to hang with this person or something like that. It's a little bit deeper for me nowadays. I'm just more focused on like the energy that I'm surrounding myself with, the mindset of people I'm surrounding myself with, because if you don't have a strong mind, that stuff can bring you down. It can rub off on you, and I don't need that. I've worked too hard. I've worked too hard to let anything like affect, you know, what I have going on.
Well, I really want to thank you for showing up today. I feel like I could sit here and like these are the type of conversations I love.
Yeah,
like I could sit
me
here
too.
and talk with you forever. But like about like 5-10 minutes ago, I saw my producer out of the corner of my eye give me the signal because I yapped too much. But I really, really, really want to thank you for showing up today, for being intentional with not only like what you want to speak about, intentional with making the effort to come here, and being authentic to yourself and the person that you are today. So.
Thank you. And I just want to say before we do end that I'm so proud of you and literally all that you have accomplished. I have been like just watching you through Instagram from the first time we met, and then the second time I think we hung out and
Yeah.
you were hosting a party, but
Yeah.
I have literally seen your personal brand evolve, like the Josie Lentner brand
Thank
evolve, and
you.
then all these brand partnerships, and then your company.
Yeah.
I'm proud that I'm cheering you along from the sidelines, literally
Likewise.
behind the screen on Instagram. I'm cheering you on, and I'm so proud of you. And then this is a new accomplishment for you, so I'm definitely honored to be here.
Thank
And
you so much. The
thank you for
energy is
having me.
definitely reciprocated. We definitely need to chat more.
For sure.
Please.
It's about time.
No, seriously. But with that being said, I want to say, well, thank you for getting cozy with me. I've been your host, Josie Lentner. You can find me at Josie Lentner or at Get Cozy with Josie's Pod. Bree, I want you to plug whatever you want to plug, whether it's your personal, your esthetician. Please post, like, tag your esthetician page. But tag yourself.
Okay, guys, I'm Bree, and you can find me on Instagram at Sculpted Aesthetic. So it's SCULPTED, period, AESTHETIC. Hope you guys follow me and come get a facial or full body wax.
Yes, make sure you have Bree taking care of you. Well, thank you so much for getting cozy with me. Thank y'all for getting cozy with us. And until next time, bye.